Welcome, everyone. With us today, we have Max Porterfield, the CEO, Director, and President of Callinex Mines. Max, it's great to have you here. We're excited to learn more about Callinex.
Thanks so much. I'm really excited to be here today.
Absolutely, Max. Thank you again. We appreciate having you here. Let's dive right in and start talking about Callinex. Can you give us a high-level overview of the company, Callinex Mines, and its history?
Yeah, certainly. So we have a long history in northern Manitoba. We're a mineral exploration company that's focused on base and precious metals-rich VMS-style deposits. So with that being said, we operate outside of a town called Flin Flon, Manitoba. This is a mining community that has 100 years of continuous production. And actually, the flagship mine in that town is due to shut down in a couple months in May of this year. So our goal as an organization, since I joined the company in 2014, is to make the next discovery for that town's viability, as well as to benefit our shareholders. And we've on the path to do so. We've hit a high-grade copper discovery that also has zinc, gold, and silver as byproducts. It's called Rainbow, and we're drilling that out. We've been drilling it out since the discovery hole was made in late 2020, and we're very, very excited about the potential it has, not only for the communities, but obviously our shareholders as well.
No, absolutely. Certainly a lot of potential there. And can you tell us more, drilling into this a little bit, about what sets Callinex apart? What are the major advantages our audience of retail investors should be aware of knowing about Callinex?
Well, inherently, if you want to invest in the metal space, you're doing so as a kind of indirect investment into kind of rising commodity prices. And the metals, particularly the base metals over the past decade, have had a lack of investment in exploration. And exploration is very, very critical to provide new supply. So you have a very tight supply right now in the base metals, both in copper and zinc are in tight. You're having demand outstrip supply. And then you've got new demand drivers that have been pushed upon it with the electric vehicles, as well as infrastructure spending, which is going to be even more demand while you have a tight supplies case. So with Callinex and what we're doing and how we're different than a lot of these other companies out there is that we've have been exploring during the tough times. And we're not only doing exploration in Canada, which is a tier 1 jurisdiction, but we're also doing it in proximity to infrastructure. And the biggest capital cost that is required to go into production is infrastructure. So being able to leverage off of existing infrastructure is going to be key. It has an opportunity for us to reduce our upfront capital costs necessary to go into production. And then the grades of Rainbow stand out on a global basis because if you look at the average copper supply that's mined, the average grade is 0.5% copper. And what Rainbow shaped it to be is one of the highest grade copper discoveries out there. Many of our holes have exceeded on average north of over 3 to 4% copper, but also include byproducts, as I mentioned before, of zinc, gold, and silver. So we have a potential to not only be one of the highest grade copper mines in the world, but also at a time where you can leverage off existing infrastructure. And then we also are unique in that we have hydroelectric power on site. So if you look as the world shifts away from oil and gas and they want to use electric vehicles, the cleanest copper, so to speak, in the supply chain will be the high grades with a clean power supply, which is everything that we kind of check the boxes for. And so that's really, I think, how we stand out amongst our peers.
Absolutely. And speaking to standing out amongst the peers, that's all very interesting. And I want to talk about another side of the business in this equation as well. But zeroing in on institutional shareholders, high inside ownership, can you give us an approximate rate of each and explain why this gives Callinex the strong base that it has?
Yeah, well, first off, I think you always want to invest in companies where the management's aligned with the shareholder base. Because, I'm a shareholder, a very large shareholder myself. I own just under 5% of the company. Management and close associates to Callinex own just under 25% of the shares outstanding. So again, if you look at all very successful entrepreneurs, they bet on themselves, they invest in themselves. And really, I am no different in the fact that I take a big bet on myself and want to create value for myself and my shareholder base, our shareholder base, through discovery. In addition to that, we have very strong institutional family office support, north of 30%. Really, the who's who of mining investors is on our shareholder registry, which is obviously great confidence to have the support of those type of institutions out there that aren't just obviously stable shareholders, but they understand the business that we're operating, which is very, very key. And it's key to funding our operations and our exploration endeavors.
That's amazing. And of course, Max, as we go through all this, it sounds like you've obviously poured blood, sweat, perhaps some tears into Callinex Mines. What would it mean for you personally, just taking a note on your perspective here, for the company's drilling programs to hit a really big hole this year?
Well, we want to continue to expand Rainbow, and we want to hit another discovery. My goal has always been steadfastly on making the discovery, so to speak, to save Flin Flon. Our team's done it before in the past. Our chairman, Mike Maslowski, in 1982, when the Trout Lake mine went into production, that was the mine that saved the town when the original Flin Flon ore body the town got its name from was unwinding. And then Jim Pickel did it again with the discovery of the 777 mine that was made in 1993 and later went into production in 2004. So what it means to me is really executing on our long-term vision that we had in 2014, realizing that the 777 mine was going to have a finite life, and we wanted to save the town for the next generation of miners. So that's very, very important to me. Also, the impact that we can have on really the supply chain for our communities, meaning Canada, the US, for that supply that will go into millions of products that everyone utilizes, is something I can take a lot of pride in. So that's why I wake up every day. It's not a job, it's a passion. And I'm very, very fortunate to have found my passion and looking to, to obviously grow and succeed as we rise up from this discovery and this long-term goal we've had.
That's outstanding. Well, looking forward to watching that happen, Max. Certainly a lot going on in your world. Anything else you'd like our audience to know, or something else we can look out for in Q1 or moving ahead into the rest of 2022?
Well, it's going to be drill results. We had a big backlog of drill results. We just put out some drill results earlier this week that showed that Rainbow has been expanded to surface as well at depth, which is key on growing a deposit. So with that being said, when we entered last year, we had 3 drill holes into Rainbow. It was a brand new discovery, which is very, very rare. And when we ended last year, we had 72 drill holes into the deposit area. And we still haven't announced a number of those drill holes. In addition to that, we've expanded the exploration footprint on the property, because the way we made Rainbow, the discovery, was using a new tool set. Albert Einstein often said, if you do the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome, that's the kind of the definition of insanity. And so the way we made Rainbow was using a different idea, mindset, different tool set that led to the discovery of Rainbow. And now we've expanded that tool set over a much larger area of our property. And then we're going to be looking to make new discoveries this year. So in addition to the large backlog of drilling, we're also looking to announce exploration targeting this year in the very, very near future, as well as to follow up and test those drill targets to make yet another discovery in addition to Rainbow.
Amazing. A lot to keep an eye on. Max Porterfield, CEO, Director, and President of Callinex Mines. Excited to watch all that happen. Excited to chat with you again later on. Best of luck.
Thanks so much for having me. It was really a pleasure.